Hey guys, it's Samuel Martin here, and I lead an open collective of 163 developers, and we make this game behind you. You can see it here. Now, there were a lot of things I wish I had known when getting into making games. I just wish I knew them, and I thought I'd share them with you so that you don't have to go through the things I went through in this process. So first and foremost, I want you to know I haven't coded one line of code in this game, and that is because I don't need to. I could do it myself. I've done programming in the past. I've made worlds, but I don't need it, and they need me as a project manager. Project management is a real thing, and you can pursue that, and you can make a game team and be the project manager. But what you don't want to be is you don't want to be the idea person. So what I'm basically saying is if people say you can't make games unless you program or do the art, they are wrong. Actually, most games are made by large teams, and you can go via project management, or there's a whole variety. There's a whole variety of non-super technical tasks that you can be part of a bigger, game studio. In my case, I lead an open collective without doing a single line of code in the group. Now, I want to paraphrase this and push back big time. This is not for lazy people. You've got to learn the craft. You've got to put in the hardest hours. For the majority of this game, I've had more hours than everyone else that has worked combined, put together on this project. So I've worked my tail off on this project to get it started, and they see that. When people see that, you're moving, you have a passion, you have a purpose, and you're gonna work your butt off to make it happen, they are gonna join you in that. But you don't need to necessarily be a programmer. Just thought I'd share that. So that's number one. Next one, this is really important. This is such a godsend. It transformed everything I do, and it helped me as a project manager to be able to make a game without actually writing a line of code, which is mentors. I had some fantastic world-class mentorship that allowed me to lead a team without having to do all that stuff. It's just really important to go out there and reach out and get mentors. If I had advice for you, what I would do is I would make connections on Reddit before making any games at all, and see if you can get some advice from a mentor out there to know where to get started. Mentorship is going to make what's going to be a 20-year journey into a 10-year journey, and I'm just going to scare you a little bit there saying 10-year journey. It's a tough journey to make games. Don't expect it to happen overnight. Games take years to make, and you better be ready to put in the hard work, but it's going to be so much easier if you don't have to learn all the hard lessons the hard way, and if you listen to those people around you. One more thing I will say, I was a go-to-it guy. I made the 4th most engaging Facebook page in the world, and I did it through hard work. Hard work isn't all that counts in virtual world creation. It's really complicated. You got to listen, you got to be humble, and you've got to not presume that it's just, I can just figure this out. Because games are like a Jenga tower. Your early decisions will bake in your later decisions. You should not be making a game like this at all as your first game. You should be making something less than Tetris. Start small. Really important. Anyway, Steam tags. Yes, I wish I had known about this. So if you're a little further in the process and you want to make a game that you actually want other people to see, buy, etc., please do not make a puzzle platformer. I apologize to all those who make puzzle platformers. That was not my intention to ruin your day. I just want to show you this. This is a great website, but I got to make myself poof here to show you this. So basically, GameStats.com, fantastic little website here, and you can see what your chances are when it comes to making different games. So let's go to puzzle, and you can see here you have a 72% chance of making less than $5,000. Basically, if I go to the top, it says 5,000. You have a 72% chance of making less than $5,000. And that's not break-even territory for anybody. Don't get that in your head. Please do not make a puzzle platformer if you're publishing on Steam. I'm particularly talking about Steam right now. But this is a great way to get an understanding of what the industry wants, right? You make a car with 3 wheels, and then you realize nobody wants a car with 3 wheels. What are you doing, right? I realize there are people who make games out of passion, and that's all good. If you just want to make a game for you and your 3 friends, but personally, even for hobby stuff, I want to see people enjoy my game if I want to do it. I don't care about the money. I care about people enjoying the game, and that means somebody's got to be able to play the game. And so definitely take a look at this website, steamtags.com. You can I'll let you know, you can filter it here by, game tags. These are Steam tags. That the games, there's more than like 100 games out there for that. You want to do that because you don't want like an outlier, like benchmarks, for example. Really high chances of succeeding if you make a benchmark program. But what you don't want is, it's only 11 of them, right? The reason for this is because many of the highest end games in the world have a benchmarking system built in, and therefore, because they are the test of the industry of how to even see this sort of thing. So yeah, it's totally skewed. Just put in the right numbers here. Mess with this, it will be a godsend. It will help you look at what people actually want to play. Moddable games, nostalgia games, remakes. Kickstarter you can ignore because that means they're just good because they're marketing better than you. Epic games are apparently important. I'll give you one last thing about this website. So for example, I am making a sandbox game. Oops, sorry. I am making a sandbox game. Pushed the wrong button there. Sandbox. Okay, I'm making the sandbox game, but I'm making a very small scale sandbox game compared to what's out there, right? So you have to look at these tags and not just take them for granted. So we have GTA, we have Rust, we have Witcher, we have Red Dead Redemption. These are really expensive games to make. This one costs $300 million to make. And to put that into context, you can get a Falcon 9 rocket for like $69 million. So you're probably not gonna make the next sandbox hit, even though your chances of succeeding are quite high if you make a sandbox game. You gotta realize those numbers are skewed just because sandbox games tend to be bigger games, and bigger games have a higher chance of having a large marketing budget, right? So keep that in mind. Remember, my mentors tell me this all the time, 90%, if you're making it on mobile, 90% of your game is marketing these days. So be aware of that. It's a really big deal. Depends on the platform you're deploying for. Don't deploy on mobile if you don't have marketing budget typically, because it's really, really tough to penetrate. That's why I'm starting with Steam, because I'm not gonna get myself kicked around as easily on Steam. So the next one, let's see here. Scope, your idea is too big. Yeah, your game idea is too big. I don't really think this website is accurate in any stretch of the term, but it's a good one for just getting a vast idea or an idea of if your game idea is too big. This is yourgameideaistobig.com. You know, great little title there. State-of-the-art visuals. Okay, so let's say we want state-of-the-art visuals. We want it to be an MMO, and we want it to be real-time strategy. What? The idea that you can get that for $161,000 to me is, yeah, this is why I don't like this website. There's no way you're getting this, right? There is a meme out there that if you want an MMO, you know, you can buy 40 corgis and tell them to make an MMO. At least when your MMO fails, you'll have 40 corgis. So, you know, basically take whatever idea you have. If you want to make a game, if you haven't made a game, just don't even make a game commercially, right? Just go do 100 game jams, not 100, do 30 game jams, and then get familiar, and then start making the smallest idea that's fun. So if I was to make a game today, I would look at the tags. I would get 3 tags that are like really good, and I would spend forever on the design, on the idea, the note of the idea, and test it before people to see if it's a good idea, to see if anybody will play that game and if it's fun. Because what I think of at the end of the day is, with all these amazing $1 million projects out there, why would they play my game, right? And you have to answer that question if you want to make a game. And you know, you can answer that question. There are games all the time that break through that are really simple, really basic games. They break through in a massive way, and they impact the industry in a massive way. So be aware, it's really important. Get some things like, let's take a look at farming. I think the chances are really quite good with farming. You got 44% chance of failing, which is not bad at all. 15% chance of making 25 to 100K, that's not bad at all. So get those chances in order. And yeah, get 3 or 4 tags and then be like, okay, with these 3 or 4 tags, how can I make a farming game that's radically different from anything else out there, and you know, gets people interested in what they see. I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I'm gonna go to this wasn't planned at all. Piku Niku, Piku Niku. Okay, Piku Niku, really simple 2D platformer. 2D platformers tend to fail en masse, but I thought Piku Niku's marketing was so genuinely unique, quirky, fun, interesting, in such a way that, you know, they did such a good job of getting this game out there that people would want this game, despite the fact that it's like really simple. The jokes are hilarious on here, and all of it, it's just a really fun little game. So what you want to do is think about, I'm at a massive disadvantage. My chances of success are 10 to 1. How do I make them better? By thinking outside the box, genuinely outside the box. Thinking outside the box is not doing what I did. I'm going to show you what I did here. So I said to myself, you know, there's all these cute games out there, and I think cute can really market a game and do well. And there are these sandbox games out there where there's high demand for cute creatures. So why don't we merge the two, right? Partnering with cute creatures to build a Sky Island paradise, make a wholesome and incredibly short, many wholesome games are incredibly short and few sandbox games are wholesome and peaceful. Our game seeks to bridge the gap. So basically, you have the compassion side of things and you have creativity. So what if you had a world full of cute creatures that you can tame and will work with you in the context of a huge sandbox world, right? That was our idea. Very bad idea. Why? Making a sandbox world, it's complicated. Procedural generation, it's complicated. You should never make a 3D game. Just don't do it, please. I have 163 people working on this game, and I just can't imagine how much I don't know and need to know to just make this game. If you don't have 163 people, it'll take you like 25 years to make this game, just this game, because you've got to learn everything from scratch, animation, just being an animation director, right? Like, I've got to direct how all of these creatures interact with everything in the world. It just gets so much. Guys, please don't do this to yourself. You know, start small. Start small is all I can say. Your scope is too big. Start small. And those are the basics. Right, one last thing. The fifth thing I wanted to share. The small questions don't matter. So every time I talk to a new developer, they're like, should I use Unreal or should I use Unity? This is a terrible question. I'm in the metaverse space, so I all the time get fancy renders like this one. This has nothing to do with making games. You can make fancy renders on whatever platform. You're nowhere closer to making games just because you can make fancy renders. No surprise there. But please, you know, one thing, when you make games, just make games with whatever tools in front of you and whatever your friends are using. Use what your friends are using, because your best chance of learning is learning socially. So don't worry about Unity, Unreal. Once you learn one, you're gonna learn enough for the other. And I promise you, by the time you get into the industry, you're not gonna be using either. So please, everything changes every 5 years in this industry. Please, please, please do yourself a favor and don't worry about the details. Don't worry about the programming language. Just get programming, just get doing art, just get learning skills. Last thing, if you want to learn those soft skills like project management and you don't want to just be on your own with that, come join our open collective. The link is, well, it's in this video the whole time. Don't worry about p1.com/hire. Just go to p1.com/learn more and join us and be a part of what we're doing. Anyway, guys, that's it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and leave it a like if you enjoyed it. And if you've watched all the way to the end, I would love to know who you are, because that's very rare that people watch a video like this all the way to the end. So please leave your name down below and tell me about your story, and I'd love to hear it. I'm sure this YouTube channel isn't big by the time you watch this, so I'd love to respond and answer and get to know you a little bit. And yeah,